We have Donal Heidenblad. Most of you know him from the iSchool. He's one of our lecturers. And we have Nathan Boss, who is a senior research associate at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab. And they will be talking about different roles that they've played in the data challenge in a few minutes. But I want to give you a little bit of background first. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to be sharing with on the data challenge website. So we put it in the chat. And Richie, can everybody still see that in the chat, the link?
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. All right. So if you look in the chat, you can click on the link and follow along, or you can follow along with my screen if you'd like. Give you a little bit of overview about Data Challenge. Quite a few of you, I think, know what Data Challenge is. I recognize some names and people that have participated. So the Data Challenge is basically a week-long event where our students get to do some really exciting analysis of data from a variety of organizations that have donated their data and also some support for the data. So there's data dictionaries and there's a problem statement, or there's reasons why data was collected. So to give you just a little bit of history from just a few pictures from last year, this was from Data Challenge 2021. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Data Challenge, but these were our top award winners last year. And then there's some pictures from the first week and then the second week. So the way that Data Challenge works is we all get together on the first Saturday. It's actually the third Saturday in February. And we break up into teams of about 1 to 4 students. And then there's mentors that come from professional organizations to help with the students. There's also mentors from the university and PhD students, and get to work with the students on for the day, actually for the week, to help figure out how to do the analysis of the problems that have been posted by the organizations or ones that they've come up with. Then at the end of the week, we have judges that come and they judge the final products that the students have spent the week analyzing. So this is just a really quick overview. So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about, the About page gives you some information that gives you more details about the week. So we do have a couple activities where students can get together to form teams during the team building event. We also have a training for the folks that are going to be the mentors and the judges at the mentor and judge information session at the very end of January, all preparing for the very long week of doing the data analysis. So let me show you the final from last year. So last year, what we had was we had students from the UMD, and we had students from the Naval Academy, and we had students from UMBC. And these were the sponsors. So we were asking last year for financial sponsorship. We had the Naval Academy give us quite a bit of money. University of Maryland Year of Data Science gave us some wonderful support. Pepsi gave us some support. AWS always gives us support by giving us software. And then I want to show you a little bit. Let's see, I don't think I have the pictures in here, but actually let me show you the data sets. So what the students do is, the participants, they get data sets from, again, from the sponsors. Last year we had 11 data sets that the students could choose from. And what we did was we set them by levels. So the data sets that were easy to work through got a level 1 gear. The ones that were really difficult to work through got a level 5 gear. The reason that we're doing this is because we have so many different students that participate. Last year we had a student that was actually a violin performance major that participated because she had never done any data analysis and she wanted to see what it was like to do data analysis. So She actually chose a level 1. She had a great time. She worked with one other person and a mentor, and they did fantastic. They loved it. We also have students that are into machine learning, and they are incredible programmers, very technical, and they are the ones that tend to choose the level 5 that is much more difficult. So what we do is for these, let me show you the data sets from last year. We label them by how difficult they are. So here's some data sets that we had last year. So the Maryland Small Business Development Center, the project was, the training program was the name. There's a little bit of a description of the data set, and then we gave that just a level 1. So it was an easy analysis for the students to go through. We make sure that we have a variety of data sets. So the next one was the Alumni Association from UMD. They also got a level 1, which again meant it was an easy data set to go through and analyze. And then Booz Allen gave us several data sets. Booz Allen actually was very generous last year and wanted to give us 10 data sets, but we were trying to limit it so that every organization only gave a few, at 2 or 3 at the most. They had, this was the recycling diversion data set that actually was from New York City and a couple other places that, that is actually public data, but they pulled it in and put a good spin on it. This was a little harder than just an easy data set, and so it got a gear 2. I'm not going to go through every one of the data sets, but you can go through the website and you can read the, again, which organization gave the data set, what the project name was, and then the description. This is what's going to be available for everyone to see outside of the data challenge. And then once we have the participants all signed up in January next year, everyone will have access to the data sets, and you'll get to choose which data set you want to participate, which data set you want to analyze. All right, so let me go back up here. And let's see. I apologize, I went on the wrong place. Okay, so how are the projects judged? Because again, the students have 1 week to work through this. They start the 3rd Saturday in January, and I'm sorry, in February, and they work through the week to do their analysis. At the end of the week, the judges are going to be figuring out which are I'm sorry, Nathan's going to talk more about this, going through their projects, talking with them individually, and then using this rubric to figure out which are the winning teams. Again, I'm not going to read this to you. You can go through and look through the judging criteria, but this is related to how innovative the projects that are how they are, the quality of the projects, how well the results are stated, and then also a presentation component. So I want to give a little bit of history about the data challenge. The data challenge started, this is our 4th data challenge. So the first one we had like this was in 2019. And at that time we had we had only University of Maryland participants. We had 38 teams representing 3 different colleges. And again, we had the first week where everybody comes and they work for a day, and then they go and they work remotely for the week, and then they come back the second Saturday to be judged. And that year we only had a 36% return rate, which I thought, as the organizer, was a really good return rate. The students that were helping thought that was a pretty low return rate, and they were very sad about that, but I thought it was great. That year we also had 15 mentors and 6 judges. And then the next year, we did a lot more promotion. And during the data challenge, I'm sorry, that was data challenge 18. And then data challenge 19, what we had was we had the 38, let's see, we had 57 teams representing 5 different colleges from the University of Maryland. We also added the Naval Academy that year. I had gotten an email from a faculty member that was connected with the University of Maryland and the Naval Academy, and he said he would like to bring several of their students. So he brought 25 students, and that year we had 57 teams, And we had an 89% return rate from the students that were came the first week to come back to get judged the second week, which we were just shocked by how many people came back. And we hadn't collected a lot of data on why, so we started asking more questions, asking the question, why did everybody want to come back the second week? What were they getting out of it? And they really, really enjoyed having the mentor support. That was something that was really important to them, was having the mentor support. So when Donal talks about being a mentor, he's going to be able to share with you what the advantage of having a mentor is. And I think that that's a key thing for a lot of the students. And that year we had 39 mentors and 18 judges. And then this past year, we had 65 teams from University of Maryland, the Naval Academy, and then this year we added UMBC. So we had 8 colleges through the University of Maryland represented, and we had a 75% return rate from the first week to the second week. This year we had 46 mentors and we had 23 judges. And we had some fantastic sponsors. Again, I showed you the image of the sponsors from last year. They were really amazing. The Naval Academy enjoyed so much participating in 2019 that one of their alumni gave us $10,000 for the activity for 2020, because he wanted to make sure that we included as many students as possible from as many locations as possible. So this year for 2021, we're actually going to be reaching out. We have already started to reach out to a couple other institutions to find out if other people would like to participate, because this year, the special part about this year is it's going to be all online. Everything is going to be virtual. We're going to have the virtual prep activities, the virtual, oh, I'm sorry, dog barking. We're gonna have the virtual activity for the mentors and the judges, and we're gonna have the virtual activity for the student participants if they like to do team building events. And then both the opening and the closing activities are gonna be virtual. So everything is gonna be virtual this year. So we're hoping to reach out to several other academic institutions to hope to bring in more people, so we can have even more students from a more variety of places that are going to come and participate, which means that we need more mentors and more judges. So I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I am going to first of all ask Emmett, if you will start talking. Again, Emmett has participated the last couple years. Go ahead, Emmett.
Hi, my name is Emmett, and I participated in a data challenge as a student team member over the past 2 years. When I entered UMD as a freshman in 2018, I lived an experience with data analysis and visualization, and the experience I did have was very Tableau heavy. This lack of experience was why I decided to give the data challenge a shot, as even then it was clear that it would give me the opportunity to significantly expand my data skills. What I did not expect was how engaging it would be. The combination of an interesting data set, a wealth of available tools, and friendly competition combines to create an engaging and interesting experience, which I'll once again be a challenge. That has played a major role in my decision to continue participating in this school year, is how open-ended it is. Well, mentors do provide suggestions on how to work with the data, and sponsors do give you the opportunity to try out certain tools. Teams are given relative freedom to tackle a problem from whatever angle and using whatever methods that they see fit. As an example, last year, my team selected a data set of rush hour traffic counts in the Washington, D.C. area, as did many other teams. My team initially used Tableau to pull the data apart, then took advantage of an ArcGIS online account provided by the challenge to create a map-based presentation that combined the base data set with data on population and workplace density, mass transit routes, and activity centers to help determine where the traffic was coming from and which areas were likely contributing to rush hour bottlenecks. We used this data to create a proposal to expand public transit options in areas that contribute the most to rush hour traffic. As cars produce more CO2 per passenger than other transit methods, this proposal would, in theory, lead to a reduction in DC's CO2 emissions, tying back to that year's sustainability theme. When presentation day rolled around, my team's table was located next to another team that is also selected to the traffic counts dataset. Instead of focusing on a specific area of the dataset as we did, it was very possible to turn a presentation to a major proposal. They created a series of visualizations covering the entire dataset, from areas with little traffic to major intersections. To be honest, this made me a bit worried, as it seemed like they did a much better job at displaying the meaning of the data. This is where the challenges decisions come in. Instead of having an overall standard for each product to meet, teams are assessed based on the merits and weak points of their product in isolation. This judging method helps ensure that teams are not unnecessarily second-guessing their design or analysis choices based on the efforts of other teams, and puts teams with little experience on the same playing field as teams of graduate students. In my team's case, we were given the opportunity to show how a different approach lets examine the ramification of the data in more detail, which a more general presentation would have had difficulty doing. Our use of ArcGIS presentation features was also received well by the judges, especially considering the somewhat complex subject matter. When my team was done presenting, I took some time to walk around and work on other teams' projects. Even though this was my second year of participation, I was still amazed by the level of creativity shown by other teams. For one, that created a 3D physical representation of their data, to another that used a full-size world map to show pollution travel around the world's oceans. This creativity is made possible by the interdisciplinary nature of the data challenge. While the iSchool is a primary sponsor, and along with the computer science department supplies the majority of team members, and the UMD, UMBC, or Naval Academy student can and often does join a team. This wide range of majors and backgrounds helps the challenge attract people who might otherwise not have been interested in creating data analysis visualization, but whose skills would be extremely useful in making data more accessible and easier to understand. While I had hoped that the 2021 challenge would be in person, obvious external factors have made this impossible. And while some elements will no doubt have to be modified or reduced in scope to accommodate for a virtual environment, I am confident this year's challenge will still provide a worthwhile experience that will live up to the example set by previous years, and that I will be glad to have once again participated in. Thanks for listening. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Emmett. We appreciate that. So we're actually going to take questions at the end after everybody talks, but I want to take a pause for a second and let everybody know that we will be opening up the registration for the students on November 1st. So between November 1st and December 15th is going to be student registration. There is a placeholder on the website, so you can go to that placeholder and look, and it'll tell you that the dates are going to open up on November 1st. And as soon as November 1st, 8 o'clock in the morning, we will post the link there. We usually have several hundred students sign up. We do not have a limit. And this year, we're hoping we have more than we can handle, because we're hoping to get more judges and mentors, because we will be online. So it'll be really interesting to see. So Emmett, I'm going to do my best to make sure that this is as good as it has been in the past. It seems to get better every year. So this is a good challenge for us to figure out how to do this virtually well. I've been part of several organizations that have tried to pull things online, and they have not gone very well. So I've taken lots of notes on what not to do, and hopefully it'll be a good one. All right, so Donal, I'm going to let you go next and talk about being a mentor. And again, we're going to do all questions at the end.
Excellent. I get to talk about the best job. I think I've done all of them.
Yes, you've done every data challenge that has ever existed. Donald's been a mentor.
Yes. And so I can attest that every year it has gotten better. Every time that there's been any, that I've thought of any problem, the next year, when I mention it to Kathy, she's like, oh yeah, we fixed that. And so it really does get better and better. And I do think that being a mentor is probably the best job for a variety of reasons. One of the things that really always shocks me is that when I come up to a team of students, the diversity. So when you're talking to grad students, a lot of them come from departments that I haven't really run into. So hard science people that do like simulations normally and coming to do data analysis with us, or people from the business school. And so that's always exciting to see the tools and skills that they come with. It's also really fun when you come up to a table of undergrads and you're like, what majors are you in? And they tell you a different major from all over campus. And you're like, how did you find each other? And they're like, oh, well, the team building exercises. I was like, so you would never have run into each other if this hadn't happened. And then seeing that ad hoc interdisciplinary team come together to actually solve a problem with a unique data set is just, I mean, it's my favorite thing. So just seeing that is so much fun. I also think, like, I have a set of tools that I know how to use and that I like to, it's my hammer that I hit everything with, right? And then every team that I've worked with, they're like, oh, well, we found this thing and it seems to do what we want, and so we're going to run with it. And they use it very effectively to communicate a story. And I would have never seen that because I think the last semester or last data challenge, someone was like, oh, well, I found, was it Microsoft BI? And I watched some videos on the train ride here, and so now I know how to use this to analyze my data, and that's what we're going to use. And I was like, wow, okay, that's really exciting. You learned this on the train here, and now you're going to tackle a data set. It's also fun because you get to be the cheerleader for these teams. So, you know, there's a lot of people there and they're all very excited, and you provide that momentum by cheering them on and recognizing the amazing amount of work that they're putting in. So, I don't know, I hopefully I'm selling it hard enough for you to want to participate, because it is a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of other things that I put down. I think last year I made a mistake when I was describing being a mentor and giving tips during the mentor training, that I started making it sound like you have to be a data science expert. And really, that's not the case. You just have to be someone to provide momentum. So trying to get them to check in with you, and providing that like retention, or trying to boost those retention numbers, which are always stunning, or being that extra set of eyes that hasn't worked with what they've been dealing with. So, you know, when you get embedded in your data, being that fresh set is always helpful. And also, I'm pretty effective at playing dumb. And so I can ask them to explain things to me and why what they're looking at is so important. And a lot of times I found that that really helps drive new conversations or helps their presentation or other things. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Have I said that? I think it's a lot of fun. So if you have the opportunity and time, I would strongly recommend participating in any way. But that's all I really have on my notes. Yeah, extra set of eyes, great job. Yeah, so I'll be around for questions afterwards.
Thanks, Donal. So I want to emphasize something that Donal said about not needing to be an analyst expert. Basically, when people say they're interested in being a mentor, what I say is that you don't have to have any experience as being a mentor. You don't have to have any data analysis experience. What you need to be able to do is sit down with the team and parse through what the organization has given them for their problem statement. So and one of the things that we work on during the mentor and judge information session is making sure that the mentors don't do too much for the students. That was one of the feedback that we got from the first year less the second year, and basically nobody mentioned it last year, that the mentors were actually doing the work for the students and they didn't feel like they were actually getting to do enough. So we talked again with the mentors on how to scale back from that. But basically the mentors just come in, they work with the students to figure out how to answer the problem that's presented or how to create a problem if they don't have a problem. And the information has been given to about why the data set exists, looking at the data, figuring out how to bring external data in to make the problem more interesting. How are they going to present it? If they have problems accessing Tableau, as all students have access for a year free from Tableau. I think they actually extended that through the pandemic, but everybody has free access with the education email address, and can they get access to that? If they don't have access, the mentor can help with that. So there's a variety of little things that the mentors can do, and like Donal said, it's basically all just supporting the team. And I actually really love walking around and seeing the mentors. The mentors look as happy as the students are to be doing this, and that just is such a great thing. The other thing is we give you an opportunity to choose how many teams that you want to work with. Depending on how many mentors we have, you'll have the choice of 1, 2, or 3, and we never give any mentors more teams than they're willing to take on. The mentors can be faculty, they can be, again, people in industry. We also allow PhD students that are at a candidate status to be a mentor if they want. So we have lots of opportunities to be a mentor, and Donal, I think you did sell it because I feel like it's one of the most fun jobs. Nothing personal, Nathan, but I feel like it's one of the most fun jobs to be the mentor, because you get to actually do the cheerleading for the week. So anyway, and we'll talk a little bit about scheduling for mentoring sign up in a few minutes. I'm going to turn it over to Nathan. Nathan has been a judge for the last 2 years for us. I actually didn't ask him 3 years ago. He probably would have said yes if I had asked him 3 years ago. But anyway, I'm hoping he says yes this year, and I'm hoping I'm not putting any pressure on you. Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed the job of judge. Actually, the first thing I did as a judge, besides saying yes to Kathy, was to go and try to recruit some other judges and mentors at the Applied Physics Lab. It was like the easiest recruiting job I've ever done. Almost everybody I asked, the first reaction was, well, that sounds like fun. Especially when it was clear I wasn't asking them to do the analysis. I was asking to be a judge or a mentor. Like, oh, that definitely sounds like fun. People would ask right away, what are the qualifications? And I would describe them pretty much as Kathy said. I'd say, well, you need some credentials in, a quantitative area and some experience in data science. But I've recruited a diversity of people. I'm a psychologist by training. One of the guys that did it was a computational linguist, computer scientist, political scientists. And they've all, found it a really interesting experience. The actual judging, and I'll echo what everybody else has said. It's the event is just really fun. It's fun to walk around, just see what the students have done, see, different teams have taken the same data set and just gone different directions with it, and also the diversity of data sets is interesting to see. The question I always ask all the teams, which isn't even all that related to scoring for me, I just like to ask it, is, well, what was the hardest part of this? What was in this intense week of trying to do all this analysis in between classes and everything else, what was the thing you got stuck on? And their first reaction is either to laugh or grimace, and usually both at once. And then they start telling me about some midweek disaster that they had or something that took them a lot longer than they thought. And I like hearing about that, and I like giving them a chance to tell somebody, because it is, it's about the journey. It's about the process as much as the product, I think. That question actually doesn't tend to affect my scoring, except I think once in a while I'll give them credit for trying to do something really innovative that didn't work, that they ended up throwing out and didn't even make it onto the poster in the end. The actual judging, assigning scores, I was, at both years, I think I started out fairly concerned about calibrating expectations, especially with the first few, because you know, typically when you grade papers, you'll look at them all once to get a sense of the range. But as judging, you jump right in, you score the first one. I was concerned I'd score them too easy or too hard at first. So nobody's going to get a perfect score from me on the very first round because I got to leave some range. But actually, I don't think that ended up being too much of a problem. Both times I thought back to the first scores I gave in the projects and thought, yeah, that's about right. The criteria that they give really helps a lot. Actually, you just kind of follow the criteria, and you end up with some sensible scores. And left to my own devices, I probably would have over-focused on the technical aspects. But the criteria both years has had a really strong sort of pro-social aspect to it. So the project had to be just not just technically sophisticated, but have a clear purpose in mind with the data set. I think it scored on innovativeness. I try to give them credit for doing things beyond sort of the obvious first pass things or the things that they were directly asked to do. I try to think about what kind of innovations are not just cool visualizations, although there are lots of cool visualizations, but what's a really innovative approach, try to give credit for that. As a judge, I also got a chance to learn about some new tools. I think the first year I did it, Google AdSense had decided that I wanted to buy Tableau and was pretty much telling me every single day I wanted to buy Tableau. But I had never had my hands on it and I was kind of curious. So I spent the day walking around seeing all these projects of what you could do with Tableau. So I felt like I took something away from that. Yeah, and in general, it was impressive what could be done in a week. Doing the actual work, but also just, you know, getting the team together, holding a team together for a week. They get scored on the collaborativeness. Everybody has to do part of the presentation, and the teams all accomplish that. So it's interesting to see the handoffs as well, that they all kind of have to have a shared understanding of what they did and why they did it. So yeah, I definitely would recommend the judging experience. I've had friends who've done mentors as well. Maybe I'll try that one of these years.
I'm not sure I'm going to let you go as a judge there, Nathan. You did such a great job. Thank you. For the judging, I think the two hardest things being a judge are we allow 15 minutes for the judge interaction, and that we tell the participants to aim for 7 to 8 minutes of presenting, and then you have a couple minutes to go back and forth with the judges with their questions, and then the judges have to take a few minutes to score afterwards. The hardest part is not having a really long conversation with every single team, because it's really, every single team has done such a fantastic job and they're so enthusiastic. So what we do is we have volunteers that hang out with the judges and kind of do the watch thing. It's time to stop talking. It's time to stop talking, and kind of move them along. Most judges are pretty respectful of that. Some of them say, oh, just one more minute, just a couple more minutes, because they just want to continue to work with the students. So that's one of the hardest parts about being a judge. The other thing, I showed you the judging criteria, and that's actually in a rubric. We have it set in a Google form, so after the judges look through and have the conversation with the teams, then they go through and they can score on 1 to 10 for each of those points. And then we actually do the calculation in the end to see, you know, the winning teams at that point. So the hardest part on that is taking those questions and figuring out how to ask a couple questions from the team to be able to do the scoring. So we go through that in the judging, the mentor and judge information session, and we have former judges give tips on a question that you can ask that will cover 4 or 5 of those areas. So that's the hardest part of being a judge. So I want to share my screen again because I want to show you the schedule, and then we'll take questions. All right. So the schedule, the way that this is set up, again, it's a week-long event with the the kickoff event is going to be on February 20th. We very carefully choose this week because it's after the career fair and before midterm start. So people have an opportunity to, students have an opportunity to have a kind of a freer week. Not, I don't want to say free week because there's no free weeks during the semester, but you're not absorbed with trying to get ready for the career fair, and you're also not absorbed in the midst of midterm. So this is a very carefully chosen week. We do take into consideration that there's snow during a regular year, but this year it's going to be all virtual, so the snow is not going to matter. We're actually just putting our snow plan into place for each of the events. So the kickoff is going to be February 20th. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the showcase and judging event is going to be on the 27th, the following Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then the award ceremony will be at 4 o'clock that day. So we will send out an invite for anybody that wants to come in to the award ceremony. We haven't worked out the logistics of how we're going to do the judges and the student pair-ups yet for the showcase day, but we're hoping to invite other people to drop in and see what the projects look like too. So for the participants, again, you're going to have the time to show up, to sign up between November 1st and December 15th. And there will be emails that'll come out through all the different colleges across UMD. There will be on the website. There'll be lots of ways for you to find out how to register. On February 5th is the team building event, and Emmett came last year and got connected with some students. And as Donal was talking about, there were students from all over come and do this team building event. It's going to be interesting to do it virtually this year, but we are going to try. It is not required by students, but it is a great way to get connected with other students that are looking for team members. One of the requirements that we have is we allow students, undergrads, master and PhD students to participate, but our requirement is that no more than 50% of the team is PhD students. So if we had a team a couple years ago that had 2 PhD students and a master's student. They were looking for an undergrad, so they came to the event to meet other people to be on the team. So that is optional. It's really fun. We play games, so you get to know what other people are thinking about, how they design things, how they ask questions, how they answer questions. And then the team registration starts. So this is kind of a confusing thing for a lot of people. You have to sign up individually. Everybody has to sign up individually. And then we give you an opportunity to sign up your team starting on February 5th. So don't think that if you already have a team and somebody from your team is signed up, you're good to go. You have to, everybody signs up individually, no exceptions. December 15th is the deadline. And then the team registration is the 5th through the 12th. And then again, we have the virtual kickoff event and the showcase event. Every team member has to participate in both of those to be considered a team member. There's no exceptions to that one either. And then again, the registration link will be posted on November 1st. So volunteers, we desperately need volunteers to help us get people checked in on the virtual kickoff day and the showcase and judging day. So we're asking for volunteers. There's a link here that takes you to a Google form that you can sign up to be either a mentor, a judge, a data set partner, or a volunteer. So if you don't want to commit to the entire week working with the students for as being a mentor, or if you don't have the analysis skills and you want to participate on the showcase and judging event, please volunteer. We definitely need volunteers, and you can be a student, or you can be faculty member, staff member, you can be in industry. Anybody can come and be a volunteer. So we encourage the volunteers to come to the mentor and judge information session so they can see what that's all about. There will be a volunteer information session the week before that, or the 26th, which is a couple days before that. Then the team building event, the kickoff event, and the showcase event are, you can choose which one of those you want to volunteer for. And then the mentor, judge, and dataset partner schedule. You need to sign up between now and December 15th to be a mentor, a judge, or a dataset partner to give a dataset. And this is the link right here that's going to take you to the Google form. We want you to give us your data set a little early, November 30th, because we need to do quite a bit of analysis on the data set to make sure that it is complete. One of the problems we've had with some data sets in the past is there was missing data, or there was data that just didn't make sense, or the data dictionary didn't match the data. And since the week is so quick and the students have so much to do in that week, we need to have pristine data sets, and we do a very good analysis on the data sets to make sure that everything is ready to go for the students. And then again, the virtual, the mentor and judge information session is on the 29th of January. That's optional for everyone, but we encourage you to come. And then the kickoff event, the mentors and the data set partners are required to come. Judges are not allowed to come to the kickoff event because we don't want them to have any idea ahead of time on what the students are working on. And then everyone's invited to the showcase and judging events. Participate, again, you can get the links through there. The students, let's see, the student participants, here's a bunch of information for you, more information about data sets and teams and the kickoff event and what's going to happen during the week. And then if you want to volunteer, there's, again, lots of opportunities to volunteer for mentors and judges, and the links will take you to the Google form to allow you to sign up for however you would like to get involved. And then there's more details about mentoring, basically everything that Donal said, and then judges, everything that Nathan said, and supply a data set. Covers pretty much everything I said too. And then there's linked to all the Google Forms. There's also some FAQs to give information about how it will be held. And again, it will be virtual, and who can participate, and it's free. There's a bunch of information about that. And then if you need any information, you can always send us a quick email. The email is datachallenge@umd.edu. And Beth is helping out this year, so she and I will be answering most of those questions. We actually have another student that is in charge of the student recruiting. She actually has a virtual class right now, so she wasn't able to attend and talk about it, but she's working with me to start doing all of the student recruiting. And we're hoping to, last year we had, again, we had 65 teams. We had over 200 students participate, and we're hoping to get over the 300 mark this year. So anyway, so now I would like to open it up to questions. And Richie, I understand you are the one that is helping facilitate the questions. I have not been paying attention to the chat at all, so my brain can't do two things. So I always ignore the chats. So.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we only have one question here from Dr. Luders because he has to leave.
Okay.
So he said, I was going to ask, extra exciting to see this growth over the years, especially becoming a regional event. In the past, did the team building happen across campuses? If not, more of a possibility in the all virtual event this year? Thanks for all.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we had a long talk last year about how we were going to do the team building events when we had 3 different campuses involved. The Naval Academy actually has, they end up assigning their own teams based on what the student classes and physically when they've been going to classes and what classes they participate in. So the Naval Academy is taken care of. We talked with the UMBC representatives last year, and they said they didn't want to participate last year because they weren't quite sure how it was going to go, and they wanted to see how everything was going to work first. So we are in talks with them to find out whether we want to have them do a team building event on their own. We are not ready to mix the teams. The UMD teams are from UMD, the UMBC teams are from UMBC, and the USNA teams are from the Naval Academy. We aren't really ready to mix them up yet because I don't think we have enough representation from all of them. Even though it's going to be virtual and they can work virtually with each other, we're going to stick with individual universities. So UMBC has asked if I will hold a team building activity for them this year, and we'll do their virtual team building activity separate for them. Again, the Naval Academy doesn't want one, and then we'll see what happens with the other universities that want to participate. Good question, Wayne, even though you're gone. What other questions? Do you have it? Are you doing the hand raising thing?
I don't think so. I think everyone just feel free to unmute themselves if they have a question.
Okay. I see several people online that have participated in the past. Does anybody want to add anything about what experience they got out of it? I don't want to put anybody on the spot, so I don't want to ask anybody specifically, but if you participated as a student or as a mentor or as a judge, and you want to chime in, feel free.
I would actually like to second the statement. I think, Kathy, you told me this last year. I volunteered to be a judge, and I said I don't want to volunteer to be a mentor because I don't actually do data analysis in a way that fits well with this. But after seeing what people produce, I think that actually, like, I'm going to sign up to be a mentor this year. So if you are like me and you're super qualitative and you don't know how to do data science, it's okay. It really is about, like, they need a good question. How do we support them in figuring out how to ask that question?
Yep. And we're going to do actually something a little different this year. We have a couple superstar mentors that are able to figure out how to use tools differently than a mentor that's never done any analysis before. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a couple mentors that are not going to be assigned to teams. They're going to be kind of available for everyone to tap into. So if they say, I don't want to use Tableau, I don't like Tableau, what are my other options? Then they can kind of troubleshoot with this super mentor. We haven't really given them a name yet. I keep calling them super mentors, but I picture them being Superman. But I think that that's going to work really well, because there were a lot of teams last year that needed to have a little bit more technical advice. And so some of the mentors that had that capability were wandering around to some of the other teams helping out. And that wasn't fair to the mentor or the team. So again, we're going to have these 3 super mentors, and they're going to be available during the day of the working day, the kickoff day. And then they'll also be available during the week just for more technical and how do you use certain programs, and, you know, not necessarily how to work through the problem statement, but basically technically what can I do? And analytically too. I mean, if they get to a point where they're stuck with the analysis and they're not sure what to do next, and the person that's helping them is somebody that's never done analysis before, they can come into the super mentor. So we're going to try that this year. I'll be surprising a few people with the ask. So anything else? I say it's a fun event, but, you know, it's kind of, yeah, I just saw Sean's comment. Yes, they need capes. I say it's a fun event. Oh, and Nathan's holding up his, unfortunately we can't do any swag this year, but Nathan's holding up his bottle, his data challenge bottle. We have a ton of those for next year, so come next year too. But we have t-shirts. In a normal year we have t-shirts and we have bottles and we have fun stuff to hand out. We have little twisty things. I don't know if I have one. I usually have one nearby. It's one of the stress reliever twisty things. We have a situation this year where we are not allowed to send anything out. So we were actually even looking at sending judges, you know, we give them a special present every year, and we can't send things to people's houses. That's against the policy. So, so the prizes this year are, last year, what happened with the prizes with the students was we let the students choose from a category of, you know, you can choose one of these 3 things from Amazon, and then we were going to order them. And in a normal year, the students come and pick them up from the iSchool office. Well, this year we were just finishing collecting all of the requests from the team winners, and well, gosh darn, we had the shutdown and we couldn't do that. And so we said, well, we'll just order all these and send them to everybody's house. And they said, no, you can't do that. That's against university policy. So we had to get special permission to give gift cards, because that's apparently also against university policy. So I got to send gift cards from my personal Amazon account, and then I got reimbursed for everything. And we're going to be doing that again this year because we want to make sure that everybody gets some sort of prize. So everybody got, I think Emmett, yours was a $50 gift card. Was that right? Yeah, it was a $50 gift card for some of the prize categories. And when you go on and look at last year's data challenge on the website, you'll see the different categories that they have, and they're related directly to the judging criteria. So we don't get to give t-shirts, we don't get to give water bottles, but the thing is that we're actually not even asking for any money this year from funding. We have the Naval Academy wanted to give us a very generous donation again, and I had to say no, save the money for next year, because we don't really have anything to spend it on except prizes this year. So they're giving us a small donation for the prizes, and that's going to be all. We don't have anything. It's really weird to run an event without a budget, because we aren't doing food, we aren't doing venue, we aren't doing anything like that. So I've never run an event where I didn't have to worry about budget all the time. But anyway, so next year, when we do this again, we will still have the water bottles and the t-shirts, and the t-shirts are really cool. They say "Talk Data to Me." So they're awesome. Everybody loves those. Anything else? Well, please send me an email directly. Go to the website. The data challenge email is on the website. Come join us. Again, it's going to be an interesting thing to see how we run this year. Again, I have my list of make sure you don't do this. And hopefully I'm going to come up with a list of make sure you do this. And we'll see how that runs. And then keep in mind for the future, because this is something that Donal was saying that it gets better every year, and I feel like it gets better every year because of the feedback that we get from the students and the judges and the mentors and the volunteers. We know what to change next year, and I feel like this is going to be, even though it's virtual, it's going to be a really fun event. All right. So Beth, do I need to do anything to end?
I'll just say thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. We do now have our entire schedule posted on the HCIL website for the rest of the semester. You're welcome to check that out. Joelle and Carol are up to bat next week, and the talk title is, "What does a successful process for an HCI researcher look like? Special Pandemic Edition." So we're looking forward to that. And we are recording these sessions. I know some people were not able to make it today. It may take about a week to do all the magic behind the scenes, but we do have a YouTube BBL site. And so all of this will appear on the website. And thank you so much for coming. And we hope you join us next week. So thank you, everybody.
And thank you guys for the panel, for joining me. This was
Thank
wonderful.
you, everybody. All right. Thank you.